Welcome, guys, to the first day of this national lockdown. This webinar is just a quick update on the essential services because we've just been getting a bit of queries about the permit. So we're just going to delve a little bit deeper into the permit just to get so you can give you an idea of how to complete the permit. And then also the BizGov website. We're just going to go into that and just quickly show you how to register your business as well. Pretty straightforward. I quickly did it this morning as well. For the PRRB, and it literally took me 5 minutes to do that specific process. But anyway, we will delve into it. So let's kick off, guys, and let's delve into the process. I'm going to quickly switch my webcam off as usual, and let's go. So as I said, we're going to be talking about the permit and the way, way in which we complete the permit. Again, just a quick update, guys. We are following the regulations that are published by government, which I indicated to you yesterday. So all the other chatter that is around there, we try and verify it before we do anything. And this is the set of guidelines that we are following at that specific point in time. If you wish to do it, please feel free to just go and have a look at those set of guidelines, but also take into consideration the act on which this is, the Management Act, on which these regulations or these amended regulations will fit into that specific act. Again, guys, I know we keep talking about it, but it's important that we abide by these regulations and measures so we can flatten this curve. And you see how it's happening all over the world, that it's inundated in the medical care, the healthcare space, and this is why we're trying to isolate ourselves so we can get this curve again below the health, or in a position that the healthcare system can carry the amount of people that needs to be hospitalized. So let's all do our part. I know it's tough on our businesses, but if we all work together, we're going to come out better at the end of the day, or the country will come out better at the end of the day as a collective. So again, just a bit of an update, further a little bit about essential services. What's important, we are deemed essential services plumbers. And let me just clarify that is specifically related to emergency services and maintenance. Contracting, sorry guys, out at this particular point in time. And there we go, it's listed in paragraph B, as you can see there, and paragraph B clearly says water, supply and maintenance, cleaning, sanitation, and then in the case of the supply services that we are there is the supply, supply with respects to rendering to the essential services. Also taking a note, institute, so the definitions, institute means a public or private institute that is engaged in the supply or distribution of essential goods or services. So in other words, again guys, your institute, meaning your company, is deemed an essential services. And then very important, I'm going to highlight this one. I know I highlighted it a lot, but I put an emphasis on the head of the institute, aka the chief executive officer or the equivalent of a chief executive of a private institution. So therefore, guys, it's like you're the company owner, the director of a company, or the chief executive officer. You're the head of this institute. And you'll see where that comes in play just now. There we go. The head of the institute must determine the essential services to be performed by his or her institute, and must determine the essential staff which will perform these services. So they're putting a lot of emphasis on this specific individual. As a result, there's a lot of accountability taken on and the responsibility that you carry. So do not look on it very lightly. So for the period of lockdown, everybody needs to be locked down except for those essential services. And then retail shops and shopping malls must be closed except where essential goods are sold. And this is the important, the supply chain, on condition that the persons in control of the said store must put in place controls to ensure that the customers keep a distance of at least 1 square meter or something to that measures. But I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. And again, retail stores selling essential goods is prohibited from selling any other goods. In other words, like I said yesterday, don't go in there and try and buy a bathroom suite. It's not allowed. Persons performing essential service as determined in sub-regulation 2, and that sub-regulation 2 is, remember, that head of the institute. That's why I said it's very important, must be determined these essential services and the number of staff. must be duly designated in writing by the head of that institute in the form that corresponds subsequently with Form 1 in Annexure C, which is the permit that we sent to you guys. We literally took it out of the regulations. We just added a bit of information to it, and we're now just going to quickly delve into that permit because we're getting some questions out of it. So again, guys, the first part here needs to be completed by the head of the institute. So in other words, the person who is responsible. See the head of the institute up there, i.e. the owner, the CEO, or the director of whatever it is. Those details need to be clear on that one. If the person has if that director or CEO has a PRB registration number, put it on there. And if he has or has not got a Metro Plumbing registration number, put it on there. And that is this individual's number, not any other number. It's the individual YAS number. And again, if they don't have it, it's not critical, guys. What's important is that it's details up here. But again, the reason why we put these ones on is so that we can have more evidence to prove to people, if you get pulled aside, that you are part of the essential services. Remember, it's all about evidence as well, guys. Then the physical address of the institute, which is your company address. And again, if you're, evidence, if you're a member of Iopsa, just put your membership number there because it's all about proof. And then your people that are working for you, the same exactly. So exactly the same as the above. The person, so if it's Joe Soap, you put Joe Soap, his identity number, and in the case if he's got a registration number, put it in, and the same as the Metro. But that's of the individual. So you might have, this will be basically the same. This one will be the same for all your documents, whereas this one will be changed for each and every employee that's working for you. And of course, you as the head of the institution needs to sign that specific document for each and every one. And I'll make it, don't make a one copy and just copy the thing and fill this in. What I suggest you do is you sign each one individualistically. Again, down at the bottom, we've added this so for verification of these numbers. Again, more evidence that we're trying to do. And then this is the one that we had a bit of a query about, guys. This official stamp is your company stamp, the institution. In other words, the company stamp. It's not an Iopsa stamp or a PRLB stamp, or you need to go to the Department of Labor or whatever. It is your stamp. Some people say they do not have a stamp for their company. So what I recommended to the people is that what you should do is try and, when you're completing this document, just print across here some document maybe with your company logo. And then what happens is generally a stamp has your company address on, and then your CK number, etc., like that. So just put a bit of information in here so it looks. And then what I also suggested, if you have signed here, the head of institute, just sign next to this one as well. Please, let's do that. And again, keep pointing, carry as much evidence with you to prove the necessary. So if you're going out, so part of this form, don't just give them this form. Give them your CK documents if you got them. Give them your registration document, your registration ID there. Give them your Metro ID, whatever it is, as part of this document that you're giving to this specific person. If you feel comfortable with it, guys, it's only our guidelines. It's not a necessity, but what we're just giving some guidance and saying the more evidence you have, the better position you are when you go out in the field, and if anybody stops you or queries your specific thing. So guys, we also, I mentioned yesterday that late towards the end of it, we were getting the communications that you have to register yourself on this BIS portal. It had challenges yesterday. I tried to go on, try to do things. However, this morning, I quickly went on, and I'm just going to quickly run you through the specific process of how this works, so you guys can just follow these specific steps. It was very simple. I didn't have much of a challenge. I went on, took me 5 minutes, and I did it. So just go and log yourselves into this specific portal. Yeah, and guys, let's do it. Register yourself, get your certificate. It's that supporting evidence as well. So you just go to that website right up there. Simply go and click on the services. It indicates up there on the services menu bar, and then it's going to bring you up a page like this. Very simple. Down on the bottom left-hand corner, click on the red button, and then it's going to bring you up a form like this. Now, this is where you might have a bit of a challenge. It all depends on how legitimate your company is and if it is up to date, because this is a CIPRO site. So your company has to be registered with CIPRO. It has to be formally be up to date, etc., etc. And you type in your enterprise number. So people might say, well, what is an enterprise number? So your company has a registration number, and it generally starts with the year in which your registration starts, slash couple of digits, slash and a couple of more digits. That's generally the registration number that you have. You should be able to find it on your official CK documents. Look on your audited financials if you don't know where to, if you're trying to look for it somewhere. It should be appearing on your letterhead. It's part of the law that it. Go and find it, guys. Stick it in. But again, and hit the search button. But as I said, again, if your guys are not up to date or you're not registered, you ain't going to get this certificate. So what I did is I actually did the PRLB certificate yesterday or this morning quickly, or I put in that's why it's blanked out, because I didn't want to show you their number. There's the PRLB registration board. So it'll, when you click search from the previous page, when you put in this enterprise number and you click search, what it's going to bring back, it's going to bring back a page like this with your entity name here from that. And if you're trading with a different name or whatever it is, that's the entity name. Click search, right? No, sorry, don't click search. Sorry, apologies, not to that. This will come back. When you scroll down, I couldn't get everything into the whole page. You'll bring up a different, this will bring up a different screen, and you'll again verify that that is the address down there. Then you just complete this. Now, one thing is a bit confusing for me in completing this specific thing is when you click this, select a business services, it's a bit confusing here. Let me just get rid of this. It's a bit confusing here, because there's not many selections on this specific, but if you're actually in the doc on the website, there's a little tab that says documents. You click on that, and then it brings up all the categories in terms of the regulations. Remember those categories I showed you? Let me just quickly show you this one, yeah. These services. Now these don't appear exactly the same as this year. For some apparent reason, I don't know. There's hotels and accommodation. I question that. But anyway, that's not for us. Guys, select that specific thing. Right? Select the solid and waste management. Sorry, guys, that's just my phone going mad with some communications coming in. Solid and waste management and public cleaning. That's the best one that we select there. Then simply just hit the search button or the continue button. Right, when we hit the continue button, we're going to bring up this specific slide, complete it with the head of the institute again, how important that person is, complete it, who's the contact person, hit continue, and let me just go. Then when it does, it's going to now go and search the data that what you registered your company for in the beginning. So if you had registered your company as a building contractor, right, but changed your services at a later stage to plumbing, and you hadn't changed that building contractor, it's not going to say that you can do it. So just keep that in mind. So you might be saying, hey, so that's why it's important to keep your date, your stuff up to date with SIP, or should have been, because so the data sets can manage. In this case, the PRLB is a service provider to the plumbing industry, and we registered ourselves as within the plumbing domain with the at CIPRO, right? And therefore have received a essential services business certificate. At the time of going out, guys, we were still waiting for our certificates, because what happens is most probably the servers are backed up with an amount of certificates that need to go out. So I couldn't show you how that specific thing. But go through it, guys. It's very simple. It's quick, and then you know that it's in the queue, but don't let that stop you from starting to trade, guys. Yes, wait for the certificate. Hopefully it will come, but as long as you've got all the other evidence and your permits, I think, guys, you're safe to go for and move forward with regards to starting to trade. But I'll leave it up to you guys to make that call. Again, I just want to reiterate, we'd like to stress that in no way is Iopsa or PRLB advocating that persons not registered with the PRLB or not having a membership with Iopsa are prohibited from proclaiming that they are plumbers, but it's up to the head of the institute to do that, and again, the institution to make that call, because they're the ones that are going to fall at the end of the day, if anything, if they choose to not be responsible in the process. But like we said yesterday, if you are registered with Iopsa, remember I spoke about the proof. The proof is important, but if you've got that, and in any way that they contact or ask for a verification, we will verify that you are registered with the PRLB, or in the case of a company, a membership with Iopsa. So again, proof, proof, proof. Just quickly on this, the retail side, because again, we need that backup on that retail side. There's no point in us all running out there and we don't have materials. The retail guys are going to follow exactly the same. They're coming in support of the essential services. They also need to go through this specific process, register themselves, proof. I am aware that some of the supply chain have already gone through this specific process and are gearing themselves up. When we have that information, guys, we will get them online and we will advocate who they are and what their protocols are with respect to if you come to that specific store. And bearing in mind the protocols, meaning that 1 square meter, but that's what the government is saying. The stores might put something else in place which are over and above that. Remember, the guys, this is the requirement from that. Again, guys, just for closing off here quickly, Iopsa and PRL offices will be closed. However, staff are working remotely, so business as usual. Confirmation of registers, memberships, Iopsa membership required can be verified by visiting the Iopsa site or contacting the PRLB offices. Yesterday I spoke about giving you that number. It was a bit of a problem because our numbers are challenging because we're working remotely. Just visit the site for all the different contact numbers there, guys, so then you'll be contacted directly with the departments. We urge you, and guys, just on those numbers, you know what, because of the amount of people calling in, you know, it floods our numbers at this particular point in time. So be patient. It's not as though our telephone lines are down, or from the PRLB's perspective. So we urge you just to keep in communication. Again, join our social media pages, guys, for those regular updates. In other words, you don't have to sit in front of your your PC the whole, but if you get it through, and then visit Iopsa's web COVID page for updates as well. COCs will be available, guys, so don't stress, but we just have to convert to the electronic COCs for obvious reasons. We'll be sending out a communication for those who are, you know, find it a bit of a challenge with regards to how to order those specific things and the electronic COCs. And the completion of the COCs is exactly the same as the paper ones, so there's no difference in logging the COCs in completion. It's just the purchasing there's a slightly different process from that point of view. And then, guys, CPD will continue, but better yet, we're going to put a whole lot of different programs on place. We're working on some ideas, throwing some ideas around what we can do, you know. So if you want to, feel free to put in, you know, send us some ideas at info@PRLB, at info@Iopsa. I think it's info@Iopsa. Send it in. Give us some ideas, guys, what you want to know, what you want to deal with, and let's see what we can put together. But we're going to be putting some great programs together. Maybe going to throw in a couple of competitions as well while we're sitting there, and you guys can think maybe, I don't know, some great things are coming, guys. The team is working on it at the particular as we talk. So, guys, again, I'm going to close off now, and again, let's protect the nation. You know, now it's our time to shine, even though it's not the right time, you know. But we're there to do our best. We're there to make a difference, and if we just all make a difference, you know, individualistic as a whole, we will win this. Thank you very much, guys, and stay tuned, and we'll be in touch again. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.